If you haven't seen part 1 of this video, I suggest you watch that now because this one will then make more sense. But to briefly recap, I was trying to find a way to get my MP3s into my hi-fi system. I'd tried a Sonos, but that hadn't really worked out for me because I didn't like the way that it controlled. I prefer something with more physical controls, actual buttons that I can press that I can keep in the hi-fi rack that I've got. I listed out my requirements and I bought something that I thought would suit me, but unfortunately it didn't work out. So in the end I sent it back and I replaced it with something that cost more than twice as much. It's pretty expensive this. It's the Sony HAP S1. You can see the prices at the bottom of the screen there. Although to be honest, I don't feel ripped off. I actually do like this device. Let me show it to you. Inside the box we've got this card that says we've got a little stick inside the box as well, a memory stick which has got some high-res audio files on it. We've also got a quick start guide. Got a few more things there. You can see the memory stick in there as well as the batteries for the remote control, power lead and an Ethernet cable, but this will connect over Ethernet or Wi-Fi, but it's got an Ethernet cable in the box just to help you out. And we've got a little simple remote control here as well. Now the device itself is very heavy. It's very well made. It feels like a brick. I mean, it's a good quality piece of kit, but it should be for the price. This is actually a proper system. You can see there we've got HDD, 500 gig hard drive in it, and it's got 40 watts amps as well on there. It's supposed to be an all-in-one system. You can see at the bottom there it says audio player system. You could just have this on its own, connect it up to some speakers and use it as it is. However, I'm actually connecting it into an existing hi-fi, so I'm bypassing all that. You can use it as a digital analog converter as well. That's a USB plug, so you can put extra storage on there to expand the 500 gigs out. We've got Ethernet, we've got coax in, optical in, but I'm just using the out on this one. We've got another 2 ins at the bottom there as well, analog ins. Oh, and also connecting up this Ethernet cable. So I'll just spin it around, put it in my setup. As you can see there, it fits like a glove. It looks really nice. It fits in with all the other stuff I've got. The remote, perhaps not so nice, made out of plastic with rubber buttons on it, but it's got the controls on there that you want and no more. There's a little memory stick there. I have to put that in the back, actually, that USB stick. It goes in the back there with those extra high-res tracks on it, so you can try those out straight away without having to put any of your own music on there. So I'll connect it up, turn it on, and as you can see there, it comes on. It's got a little bit of a boot up time. It's got a fan in here that you can't hear, but it does have a fan in the back. It's very silent. Menus, a lot nicer on this one than the previous thing. Choose your language. Easy on-screen explanation as to what's going on. You can have it sort of work in standby, so it can pick up music off your network while it's in standby, and you can choose wired or wireless setup. And unlike the previous device, no necessity to reboot when you're switching between those. However, one thing you've got to watch out for, it's trying to format that little USB stick that I put in the back. So you've got to select no to that, otherwise you'll lose the things that are on it, which are those HD tracks as well as the software for Windows. Right, selecting my wireless network here, and then I'm just going to put my password in using this on-screen keyboard. As you can see, it's like a jog shuttle wheel out that you can spin and then click in to select things. Right, so everything's okay there. So we'll click OK and close. And look, we've got a firmware update. There's always a firmware update with everything nowadays, isn't there? So let's install that first of all, and while that's going on, let's just have a look at the piece of software that we're going to have to use to transfer these files across. I use a Mac, and it says that the Mac software has to be downloaded separately. However, the address it gave, there was nothing there. So, but I did manage to find it on the Sony website, so click to download, and again, file not found. So I got a bit worried at this point. I was thinking I'm not going to be able to transfer the files across to that hard drive. However, I did find the software in the European store, downloaded that, installed it, and then what happens is it finds the device on your network. You choose what folders you want to copy across to that internal hard drive on the device and what files you want to copy across, what types of files. And then once you've done that, you can start it off going, and it does take a long time. Look at the top right there, counting up. I say counting up, nothing's happening yet, but just look how slowly it does count when it starts counting 1 out of all those tracks. That's all my tracks that are going to be copied across. In fact, to copy all my music collection across to this device took an entire weekend. You can see there at the top of the screen it's counting up from 103, 104. This is over an Ethernet cable, which is slightly faster, only slightly, than Wi-Fi. But remember, you only have to do this once, the first time you get it. That's it after that. After that, you're just uploading the odd track or odd album every now and then. It goes into some sort of standby mode, so it's not using all your power up while it's doing this. Anyway, when it's got all the music on, I'll show you how it works. On the right here, well, we've got this control. That's that wheel that we can spin around. We've got a play, pause, got a back, and we've got a home button. Those are the buttons I'm using, those ones in the middle. This one on the right, this big volume button, it's kind of dampened, it's got a good feel to it. I'm not going to use that because I'm not using the inbuilt amp. I'm using a different amp with this one. I'm just using the outs. On the left, we've got a power button and headphone socket, and a nice big clear screen. And of course, we can control it all with that remote and use it that way, or we can use these buttons on the screen. So I'm going to show you how it works. You can see here we can spin down. We've got this nice little on-screen graphics changing as we go into the different menus. It's got great aesthetics, this thing. It looks really nice. It's a beautiful piece of kit. So let's go into one of these things here. You see at the bottom, in external input, that's if you're using it as a hi-fi device on its own, you can use those lines in or optical ins, and it'll work as a really good digital analog converter. I'll go into the internet radio, which is something I've never really paid attention to before. I've had internet radios and never really liked them. However, this one, it's so easy to use. I've actually started using internet radio. You can pick your genres and things. I'll just go into the all stations here. Look how many stations there are to choose from. I mean, it's ridiculous. You could never listen to all of these. So hopefully you manage to find a couple of radio stations you want. There's a few different ways of doing that. You can go by genre or even bit rate and things like that, and then put them in your favourite stations folder here, so you've got easy access to them in the future. So I'll put a few in there now. I'll just click on one of those. You can see it loads up, starts playing straight away, and you get some really pretty decent quality here. You can see the kilobits a second at the bottom there. Actually sounds pretty good. But of course I didn't buy this device to be an internet radio. I wanted it so I could play back all my music collection conveniently and easily. So let's have a look how good it is at doing that. I can pick genres, artists, albums or tracks. If we go into albums, you can see at the top of the screen there I've got 915 albums in here. If I click on that, you'll see 18,000 tracks. There's a lot of very large compilations in amongst those. You can scroll through these really easily. There's a sort of clicky feel to that knob there, so you can just stop it exactly where you want. Let's try playing back Talking All That Jazz by Stetsasonic, which is on their In Full Gear album. So I'll just look for that now, In Full Gear, spin down, track 13, Talking All That Jazz. And there we go, playing straight away. The good thing about having it on an internal hard drive, everything is quick. Notice we've got 320 kilobits a second on that one there. I'll show you some high-res audio that I downloaded. I got some from hdtracks.com where you can download albums, these higher res. So we'll go and pick one of these. What did I get now? It was Physical Graffiti, that's it. So let's have a look here. Play track 1. You can see there, that's a FLAC file, which is presumably supposed to sound better, which it does. I mean, they all sound great. Everything sounds great. Now, let me show you how these buttons work. To move tracks, you can just spin that little knob a little bit, just slightly. It'll move to the next track. It's like a skip forward, or of course you can skip back if you want. If you want to pick a particular track once you're in an album, spin it a bit, and you can see all the tracks off the album laid out in front of you. So you can jump down to any particular track you want to play. In addition to that, when you're playing it, you can just click it in, and you've got the option to shuffle all the tracks or all the albums if you want, repeat them, and you can add favourites where you can put a little heart next to something. That shows up in another folder where all your favourite music collects. This DSCE thing this is supposed to make rubbishy sounding MP3 sound better by adding in extra detail. It does actually sound better if you've got a low kilobit rate MP3. And we can also adjust the treble and bass here. I think that only really works though if you've got it playing back through its own speakers, not through another device like I have. You can delete tracks, of course, as well. Now, this Sends Me thing, I'll show you what that is. Let's just jump out of here, and I could have just pressed home, by the way, rather than pressing that a few times. So Sends Me channels are things where you can choose a kind of mood, I suppose, that you want. So let's see, we've got morning, daytime, evening, night, etc. You can see how many tracks are in each one of those. It's figured this out itself. It's probably not always getting it right, but if you click on one of those things, let's go for midnight, it'll play something back that it thinks you'd might want to hear at midnight, I suppose. Good, maybe for parties, things like that. Stick it in a certain mode, just have it play tunes in the background, I suppose. It's quite a nice little feature, although to be honest I prefer to pick the record that I want to listen to, but if you just want to have a random record playing, it's a pretty good option. Now you can also use an app with this. Of course I won't be doing this, I'm not interested in using an app, but the app does give you extra features as well. You can rename tracks and move them about, change the genres and things, change the settings, but as you can see here it works really well as well if you are into apps, and it enables you to get into the settings and all the other options that you've seen so far. But for me, this device is really all about the fact that I can now access every single CD that I've ever bought within just a couple of seconds. You can see I can scroll through my entire collection. They're not all mine, by the way. There's quite a few of the misses ones in there. All the bad ones are hers. All the interesting and cool stuff, that's mine. But you can see I can just pick a record here very easily. Just click on that and pick one of Stevie Wonder's classics. There we go. That'll do. Living for the City. Just one of 18,000 tracks that I can pick with a quick spin of a wheel. Now YouTube comments have tended to go ballistic whenever I've spent a large amount of money on anything. But don't worry, you don't have to buy one of these. I bought it with my money and I'm very happy. In fact, it's one of my favourite things. Anyway, that's it for the moment. As always, thanks for watching.